And it just sounds like a really big number. Say $49.14 million. How much am I going to have to give to this? What is it? Like, break it down a little bit.
We don't really come to taxpayers unless we actually have to. So for a $350,000 home, which is the average home, it's $15 a month for the 20-year bond.
So it's $15 a month for answering yes. And that is not going to change for 20 years.
Hey, Fluff, I just wanted to have what's needed to take care of kids. They're staggering what they offer each tri by the space they have, not by what the kids want to learn.
Right.
Right now, they're trained on 1966 equipment. Our welding area, I get nervous when I watch that because it's so tight and confined. And this community is great. They want to donate equipment to us, but we have no space to put it in there. The core of our school was built in 1966, and that core was built for about 500 students. Well, right now, we're a little over 1,000 in that high school. And then the other one that's even more of a need is our career and technical education.
Yes.
What that is, it's our industrial tech or it's our shops. And that was a pole barn that was put up in 1970. Supposed to be temporary. And 55 years later, we're still teaching.
Yeah.
And when you go back there, you're going to go, oh my God.
You do. And it makes me sometimes wonder about how it makes the kids feel when they go to these other schools and see their facilities and things like that.
This is an investment that is going to help for generations, because once you make this remodel, good for another 50 to 60 years. And it was the communities that said, we need to build a structure that we can send our kids through to be educated. And so that's always been the way public schools have been built. It's from their community. It's not a state thing, and that's all this does, is take care of academics.
That's super important for people to know.
It is a need, it's not a want. This is the only thing on the ballot. Go in there and you'll see just one question. If you let your school deteriorate, your home values are going to deteriorate. It goes straight to what's being built in our local community. That tax relief is a really big relief on our local farmers.
Well, right. And if you continue to put Band-Aids on things, there's going to be a point where it's like, we can't fix it anymore.
The teachers are making it work. Well, yeah, but the kids are losing. And they are on the losing end of this for sure.
And my role is to help build a culture where everybody feels valued. I fight for the community, I fight for the school district, I fight for the kids. And when you start to put things in there that we don't need for learning, I'm going to say why.
Hey everyone, we have Superintendent Pat DeVine today on our podcast. We get to learn more about him, why he chose Princeton, and the upcoming referendum. So if you have questions, stay tuned because they're all going to get answered today.
Welcome to the Princeton Podcast, your go-to source for everything happening in and around Princeton. Join your hosts, Zach, Mary, and Kim, three locals who live and work right here in Princeton, as we bring you the latest events, exclusive interviews with local businesses, and stories that make our town special. Your community, your stories, your podcast.
All right, well, we are so excited to have our newest superintendent on our podcast for the first time. Welcome, Pat.
Well, thank you, Mary. Really excited to be here. Thank you, Kim.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
And so you've been in Princeton for how long now?
Let's see. I always say I started my first day on July 2nd at the district, and we closed on our house in town on July 2nd.
No stress.
That's the day.
Right.
Yeah, so why did you choose to live here? I mean, everyone's so happy about that, I can't even tell you.
Yeah,
that you're
you
living
live in our district.
Yeah.
Well, I think two things for living, but first choosing Princeton. I've always known Princeton was a really good community in school district. I think it was my time when I was in Litchfield. We kind of did some partnerships when I was an administrator there. And then just kind of watching from afar, if you will.
Yeah.
I knew it was really a strong community. And so that's why I applied for Princeton and wanted to be here. And having our oldest son and his wife live in Pequot Lakes, and they have 5 boys, and they're all at that competitive age. So this gets me a chance to
5
watch.
boys.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah. And now we can watch some of their competitions.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I bet they're active in sports.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
But then as far as moving here, I've always felt that if you're going to work especially in the school industry, you should be a part of the community. I think schools is a huge part of the community, and I think that's why you should live there. And that's why, I don't know, I've seen, Kim, you and I have seen each other out a lot, because
Yes, we have.
I get out and about, and I always say when I'm doing the presentations or meeting new people, and even with the staff and the kids, I say, if you see me out shopping in Colburn's or Walmart or some store, and you want to come say hi, please do that, because that's the kind of approach I feel like I should do and I want to do as a superintendent.
Yeah, really get to know the community.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And like Kim said, it's just the community is loving it.
Oh, cool.
So,
yeah.
Thanks for choosing Princeton.
Yeah.
And another really kind of small world story is Pat is in our leadership group for this year, our chamber leadership. And Sam Tibbetts is the new State Farm agent here in Princeton. He's also in our leadership group. Yeah. And he walks in and says, "Hi, Mr. DeVine." And they know each other because Sam was a student in Litchfield, right?
Yep.
When Pat was an administrator in Litchfield. Now they're both here in Princeton.
Right.
Oh, funny.
And in the leadership. And Pat said, "You can call me Pat." And he's just like, "I don't think I can."
I have a hard time calling my teachers, too,
Right.
even 25 years later.
Right, yeah.
So,
But what a small world.
Yeah.
They both end up here.
Yeah.
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 And he's a great guy, too.
Sam is great.
Yeah, he's a great guy, too. So, so what are you most excited about in Princeton being the new superintendent here?
You know, it's one of those you apply and you hope to get the job. And when I applied, I knew it was a really strong community, really supported kids in schools. But I think what I'm really excited about is that's being confirmed everywhere I go. Whether it's the open houses, whether it's going around the community, whether it's going to events, I really feel a strong sense of we're here to make sure kids have great experiences. And our staff are that way. There's just a great love for kids, and that's where my heart is. You know, you want to do the best you can for kids, and I feel that here at Princeton. So I think that's what excites me the most.
Yeah, we have a great staff here in Princeton.
Yeah.
And we did it's been a few years now. We just kind of took an unofficial poll looking through the whole staff, and there were so many teachers and staff members in Princeton who also graduated from here, which I think is a real testament to the community and the school district, and that they come back here and teach here.
No, that's a great point, and I've noticed that too. And even in the workforce here, there's
right.
a lot of kids that leave and maybe go get some kind of degree or certification of some type, and then they want to be in Princeton. That's a testament to the school, and it's a testament to the community.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, when you're in high school, you're like, I can't wait to get out here, and, all that. So I'm going to go away. And
Yeah, you feel that way.
at first, yeah. But something about Princeton just draws people back. We have so many alumni living in this community, that young.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. They're raising their families here.
Right.
So that's a big deal to Princeton.
It is.
Yeah.
So what kind of opportunities are you seeing now that you've been here for, 3 months?
Within the school or otherwise?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, I would say within the school, I think for me, it's my opportunities is getting to know more how we do things, what we do with Tiger Pride or the Career Academies, those kind of things. I just want to get to know more about it, and then the other thing is, it's important for me to build relationships, and whether it's with the staff, with the kids, or with the parents and community at large. I think when you build a solid foundational relationship, then you can solve a lot of problems and get through a lot of hurdles when you all know each other well enough to go, I know where Pat's heart's coming from, and when they know that, then it's easier to maybe get through some tough times.
Exactly. I think that does make a huge difference with parents, just knowing that you're transparent and you have strong communication with the parents, and they just feel that they can trust you then. And that's hard. That is a hard thing to do as a superintendent, because it's a lot.
It is a lot. And I think, I've seen it done in ways where there's not real genuineness to it. And for me, I've always been just who I am. I'm genuine. I'll say it the way it is and the way I see it. And I think people really appreciate that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree.
Absolutely. So you've been here since July. So you've had July and August and September. School's been in session for a month.
Yeah.
What have you seen as like a top priority for Princeton, for the district?
Well, I think we're going to get a little bit into the referendum a little later, but that's obviously a big, huge priority for the district. But beyond that, I think one of the things that I always feel like no matter what leadership role I've been in, whether it was when I was teaching and coaching or whether it's been as a principal and so on, I felt that in my role is to help build a culture where everybody feels valued and everybody wants to be there and there's joy in being there. I always say I want everybody that comes to work and everybody comes to learn at Princeton schools has joy and they feel really good about coming.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a culture thing. You really work hard at that to make sure people feel like they are heard, feel like they have a voice, feel that they can come up and tell me about anything. And I don't know, maybe it's my old math teaching, but I like to problem solve. So it's like, okay, well, tell me more about that. Let's figure out a way to make this better. So I think when I look at top priorities, it's making sure we have a culture where everybody feels like they have a voice and they get to be heard and they're valued.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, and it's so important, especially nowadays with the world the way that it is. And, Ben always used to say, we can't stop the world from seeping in. If we could, that'd be nice. But they do it does seep into the schools. And so there's things that kids might not feel, and staff may not feel like their voice is heard, or they don't feel welcome. So it's nice to know that that's a culture, and that takes time to build. And
it does.
Yeah.
And it's a committed effort by everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we, especially for kids, how do we take care of kids so they all do feel welcome and they are heard, and if they're hurting, we're giving them the help they need so that they're not hurting, right? So
we had Ryan and Joe on the podcast recently, and we kind of talked a lot about mental health and what a huge part that is of school nowadays, and needing the resources and getting those to kids.
Yep, always a work in progress with that.
Yep.
It's a big topic.
Yeah.
So before we get into weaknesses, let's talk about the strengths. Like when you first came here to the schools, what was your, this is so great?
I'm going to go back a little bit to the culture is really good.
Yeah.
And the care for kids is huge. People really, and I was really surprised, I guess, to find all the programming and systems that are in place. Because we do have a lot of mental health support. We have mentorship programs. We have Spanish Immersion, which for a school our size is amazing, especially in our demographic area.
Yeah.
So there's offerings that we give kids, and then you go to the career academies. Again, there's a lot of schools that want to do that, but to have that in our system is pretty huge. So I feel like the structures and the curriculum has evolved to match what's needed. So that's a really strong positive, that there's been work before I got here that has that needs to be honored and shown that they are doing great work. And I know that even on whether it's the reading and writing and math skills, we're doing new curriculum to try to enhance the learning there. And we just came from a meeting right now where we're talking about how do we support kids more, and how do we give them more opportunities to improve their learning. So there's a real passion for people to help kids learn at the highest level, and that's a really strong strength for a school system.
And I love that that's one of my favorite things about Princeton is the innovation and the, looking ahead to what the needs of the future are, and not, adapting to the world as it is today. I think that's amazing, and I think that not all schools are there yet, and I definitely know that Princeton is, and that's on their radar. And
I think another positive about, talking about the career academies, when they were coming up with those, they talked to the students, they talked to business owners, they talked to community members to find out, one thing that the school district said at the time was oftentimes teachers, they go to college and then they come to teach, and they're in their jobs, and then they're in their jobs. So they might not necessarily know, well, here's what the need is in manufacturing. We really have a need for this, this, and that, or here's the need in whatever it might be. So it was nice to have businesses come in and say, here's what we need, because staff may not know that. Just like I don't. You're in your job, and that's where you stay. So it's hard to know what everybody needs. So they involve the whole community with trying to figure that out, which I thought was great.
It's fantastic, and it's actually what you need to do, right? Because we can stay in a silo and say we can figure it all out on our own, but we can't. It takes the whole community, and it takes knowing what is needed for our kids as they leave our school system. And I think that's so important. And one of the things that you hear when I've done that in the past, I'm sure this came up when you had the community work here too, was they talk about soft skills, if you will. Will they show up on time? Will they,
or at all?
Oh, yeah, not call in sick on big days. They're there and they step up and they help. And I think that's I don't know. I just came out of a conference right now, and I know one of the sayings I loved. It was like, let's not call them soft skills. They're essential skills.
Yeah.
Yes,
Life
what a good
skills.
point.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's
They are
essential life
essential.
skills that you need, and it's important that we all, as a team, and when I say team, it's not just the staff in school, but it's parents and the community.
100%.
Let's help these kids understand how and why this is so important.
Yeah, we talked about that with Ryan and Joe, I think, a little bit. And, Kim talks to all the business owners in town through the chamber. And you were telling stories about how people would say that students just wouldn't show up for an interview. Like they'd schedule an interview and just decide,
And not just students, but, grown adults.
Yeah.
Right.
Just don't show up for interviews. Yeah.
And that just, it blows my mind.
Right. I know.
Like, I'm going to sleep in, or I'm going to,
I don't feel like it today.
There'll be another one. There'll be another
one.
opportunity.
Right.
And we talked in a recent meeting that we were in for Tiger Community Connections about how parents too, that it's, you have to, I think when your child is ready to leave the nest is when parents start panicking and you don't think about things that maybe you didn't teach them or that you don't know. Like, did I? And I gave that example about seeing a kid when I was in a store with my son, this kid that had come out of the dressing room with all these clothes and was trying to put them on hangers. And they were like, I'm just watching him like, he doesn't know how to put a shirt on a hanger. And we got in the car and I was like, Ryan, do you know how to put a shirt on a hanger? Like, I taught you that, right? You just start panicking about all these skills.
Right, yeah.
And so I think that it's something that parents have to be, it's not just up to the school.
Right. Yeah.
It has to be all of us, the whole community, the workforce. And
it's a huge partnership for
it
them.
is.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. It's a huge partnership. And with Tiger Community Connections, when we work with the businesses and the schools together, I think a lot comes up about things that, you talked about those essential skills.
Right.
That just keeps coming up year after year after year.
It really does. And in being in education, you understand brain development, right?
Right.
And you can teach those skills in the primary and intermediate and middle school and then again in high school. And sometimes they're like, I didn't know how to do that.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, and quite honestly, their brain didn't retain it, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Because their brain's still developing. So it's an ongoing journey.
Absolutely. Past school, for sure.
That's right.
And, and then you have these other challenges of things that, like, we didn't have, where we're hearing from businesses that people don't know how to talk on the phone. They don't know how to answer the phone. They don't know. They're nervous to be on the phone. They don't want to have anything to do with it when they're at their job. That was not a thing, I didn't feel like, when we were going into our first high school jobs.
No.
Because we
couldn't wait to talk on the phone.
Yeah. And we...
Run to that rotary dial.
Yes.
Exactly.
Stretch the cord as far as you could.
Under the door.
That's exactly right.
Yes. And they're texting and they have everything online. You don't even have to order a pizza over the phone. You can just do it right online. So there's just some new skills.
It is. It's so new. And it's interesting to see that, the communication kids aren't on a live conversation. It's usually all electronic and texting and, instant messaging and whatever, right? And the only way they will be somewhat live or show themselves is if they do a little TikTok video or something, something like that. It's like, no, you can see me here. But,
Yes.
I should start doing TikTok videos to my girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The volleyball girls, and do like a skit of what I'm trying to tell them,
Right.
and they'll watch.
Yeah. But they'll be like, ooh, that's cringe.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. All the slang. I want to go back quick to Tiger Community Connections, just to explain to listeners what that is, because we talk about that a lot on our podcast, I feel like. So what is it?
Well, it started out as Learning and Living many years ago. Ginger Glenn was instrumental in starting that, of Glenn Meadowcraft, and wanted to bring the businesses together with the school district and to talk about these things, about what are businesses seeing when students graduate from high school and what are some needs that they need, and just having that whole conversation. And so that has evolved into Tiger Community Connections.
Okay.
And where we still are meeting with businesses, are meeting with the school district. We meet once a month, and we do things like we've done the Just Desserts, which is a speed networking.
I love that.
Yep,
yeah.
that we do with 10th graders and seniors. And then we have done the Career Crawl twice, which we've taken the entire Princeton staff, the entire district goes on what's it called, like a in-service day. And they would go around to all the businesses and really learn about some of the things that they are wanting.
And always such good feedback.
Great feedback on that.
From teachers.
So we've done that twice, and now we're going to do students. We're going to do a career crawl with sophomores this year.
That's
so we're really
awesome.
excited about that. But that kind of comes out of that group.
Yeah.
So just a constant conversation about, so that there's a good communication line always between the businesses and the school district.
Yeah, it's good to let the community know that things are happening because, the community doesn't always know what happens behind the scenes.
Right.
And so they're thinking, why don't they do this or why don't do that? But you are.
Yeah, right.
In fact, you are doing those things. And so it's good to let the community know.
No, that's exactly right, Mary. And to Kim's point, it's such a great partnership because it's been ongoing and all these businesses are involved with it, really want to help provide opportunities for us to learn more. And it's crazy how you could probably ask kids and even a lot of adults what some of these places do in town.
Right.
And they would have no idea.
Yeah.
Right. Or even know if they hear
I was just
that
going to
they're
say
here.
that they exist.
Right, yeah. So to have these opportunities to get kids out, to get staff out to see it, it's really,
It's really neat.
really
I love that.
impactful.
Yeah, the one manufacturer that we talk about every time that would be just so great to be able to bring students in to see is Phillips Distilling, but they can't have anyone under, 18, I think it is, in there.
There's the process.
And there's so many other things. I mean, there's chemists and, I mean, there's so many different things in the business, but they just aren't able to do that around alcohol. So, so that's something. But we have many, many different manufacturers that are able to do that.
Yep.
And Phillips would, I think, if they could.
Yeah.
But, understandably so. We have some great manufacturers and businesses here.
And what's great about the, even the larger ones like that, it's beyond the product they're making.
Yeah.
It's the business side and the operational side and how do you ship it, how do you take orders, all that kind of things that maybe kids don't even think about.
Right.
But now all of a sudden they get this opportunity to go, I think I could be a shipping manager or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Phillips is a huge supporter. They are always, taking part like in the career crawl and doing whatever they can to, bring it as far. They just can't bring kids in the building. But like you said, there's so many different opportunities, accounting and HR and the whole business side of things. Yeah.
Oh gosh, lots of different careers within one spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And that's probably a good segue maybe into the referendum.
Okay.
We know that that's coming up, so you had to come in
Yeah.
and, hey, welcome. We're wanting to do a referendum.
Right.
Yes, give us money.
So tell us about that introduction.
Really happy to offer you the position, and we have something we need to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
First and foremost.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, I love the opportunity for that, and I invite that for me as in coming into the new position. Partly for two reasons: one, I know it's so important for the school, but two, it allows me to get to meet a lot of people fast.
Right.
And I am a relationship person, so I want to get to know people.
Yeah. So
me having the opportunity to go out and do referendum presentations allows me to meet people and let people see who I am too. So it's really it's a good opportunity for that. But then on the referendum side, this is, to me, I keep saying, well, there's a few things I say about it. One, it's a need, it's not a want. And if you, and you have this opportunity actually coming up right before the volleyball game
Yes, exactly.
on Thursday night.
Go Tigers.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
Go Tigers, yeah. So on Thursday, we have an open house, and we have early voting at the high school. But during that time, you could actually walk around, and we'll give tours of where our facilities would be remodeled and redone. And what you'll find is in the core, and there is a lot of alumni here, so they understand that. But the core of our educational school at the high school was built in 1966, and that core was built for about 500 students. Well, right now we're a little over 1,000 in that high school. So the hallways are thin, the stairways are thin, the classrooms are small. When I talk to other superintendents, they tell me a little bit about your classrooms. I said, we have a lot of classrooms that are 650 to 750 square feet. They should be at 1,000, especially back then you were probably putting 18 to 22 in a classroom. Now we're putting 30 to 35.
That's crazy.
It's so crazy. So they're just packed in there,
Right.
really tight. And if you come to one of the presentations, I always go sit by somebody elbow to elbow and say, this is what our high school kids have to do.
Right.
Every 45 minutes, 50 minutes, elbow to elbow right next to their classmates.
That's right.
Because that's the way we have to cram in all the desks for 30 to 35 kids in those spaces. So that space really needs to be redone. And I know that's something that the task force looked at, and they said, okay, what is it? What is our biggest needs in our school? And this is it. And then the other one that's even more of a need is our CTE area, career and technical education.
Yes.
To those that don't understand what that is, it's our industrial tech or it's our shops or whatever. And that was a pole barn that was put up in 1970, supposed to be temporary.
Yeah.
And 55 years later, we're still teaching them. And when you go back there, you're going to get kind of eye shocked. You're going to go, oh my God.
You do.
I can't.
Oh, even from the pictures that you see it.
But I'm telling you, when you see it, and we had the opportunity with the chamber to go take a tour with students in there, and the I'm gonna always call it like the shop, but they were working in woods, and Ryan had said this is about half of what would probably be in here. There was only about 14 students at the time, and they were all standing in line. I just kept watching the teacher because I just thought I couldn't handle this. It'd be so stressful.
Yeah.
But they were all standing in line in two separate lines to make one cut. Because that's all they have room for as far as,
equipment.
Equipment.
They only have one table saw because they don't have, and this community is great. They want to donate equipment to us, but we have no space to put it in there. So we're sitting there having kids wait in line. I was in there last week, and there was a line waiting to make their first cuts for their project. And all of a sudden the teacher says, you know what, from, Mary back, you're going to have to cut tomorrow because we're running out of time.
So think how long it takes to make a project.
I know it. Yeah. So it really limits us. And our welding area, it's I feel I get nervous when I watch that because it's so tight and confined.
I mean, talk about sitting next to each other in the classroom. It's basically the same, but you're welding.
Right. Sparks flying everywhere.
I had somebody, when I presented to the fire department, say, I went to school there. And I remember one time I was draining my settling tank hose, and I forgot my buddy was welding right next to me. Yeah, a little
Felt that. Yeah.
But I'm like, that's how tight it is. They have asbestos walls, poor lighting, poor ventilation.
It's very dark in there. It's very dark in the school.
Yeah.
Once you get into the classroom areas.
Yeah. So that area would be all taken down and redone. And if you look at our website and check it out, you'll see the pictures of what I call industry standards. If they're going to go out, which we want them to, go out in this community and work, they need to be trained on things that look like where they're going.
Right.
And right now they're trained on 1966 equipment and facilities. So this will give an opportunity to give our kids the chance to learn on industry standard equipment and facilities. So it's exciting. It is a need. It's not a want. I know when they did the task force, they pretty much got the information back that said don't put any fluff on this. Don't be adding turf fields in the field house. Take care of the academics, and that's all this does is take care of academics.
That's super important for people to know too.
Yeah.
It is.
In the past, it's been like we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that.
Right.
Well, I mean, do we? Probably not. We want it. I mean, it's going to make us better, but we need better facilities for our students for learning. I mean,
the other
that's why
thing
we're
I want
here.
to point out too is that the teachers, I sometimes see comments about they're doing it just fine. I mean, they are making it work. It's incredible. But one thing I want to say about that is that I learned on the tour is that, for example, when we were in one of the rooms, it was Leif's room, many people in the community probably know they build sheds.
Right.
And so they have these huge frames laying on the floor. They have the door open because some of them will have to be worked on outside as long as the weather is accommodating to that.
Yeah.
And then he was explaining, in this little corner, we're going to have one shed that's this big, and this one we'll have here. It is so tight. Then he pointed to a lift that they have for automotives. But he said they can't offer automotives because they don't have any space for that. So literally, they can't offer a class for automotives right now because they are working on the sheds, doing the woods piece. They can't have both.
Yeah, they're staggering what they offer each try by the space they have, not by what the kids want to learn.
Right.
Because there's more kids that want to get involved and learn, but we don't have the space to do it. So I think it's a game changer for having these facilities, because then we can offer more and actually can do more and learn at industry standards.
Yeah, so that's what I would say to people that say, the teachers are making it work. Well, yeah, but the kids are losing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
they are on the losing end of this for sure. And then they only have the one left, which, he also talked about, so we have the one left, and then we have to learn, we have to jack up cars and things, which is not exactly super safe. And so it's just, if you have an opportunity to go through and see a tour, it's really eye-opening. And this podcast will come out after Thursday. But if somebody would want to do that, if they hear this podcast and they say, I missed that, could they contact you?
Yep. Anybody that wants a tour, we'll give them a tour. And we have actually kind of self-guided tours. We have signs up now with a little QR code where you can kind of walk.
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah. So if people, if they're there for an event and go, I kind of want to wander back here and see what this is all about, they're more than welcome. And teachers will be there as long as they, their contract time. But they'd be there longer if you said, hey, can I come at whatever X number, X time of the day? And, because we do want people to know. Not just to be, I heard about, or to your point, Mary, it's kind of like, that's kind of the way we always did it. Well, the way we always did it prepared people for the 1960s and 70s and 80s. But right now, the way we always did is not preparing them for 2025. It's not getting a kid ready to go be out, get certified. And the thing is, our kids want that. When we do surveys of where they want to go after high school, about half of them want to be in an apprenticeship. They want to be in a vocational setting where they can go out and actually get a job a lot sooner. So this would accelerate that. Because we could then give classes, some articulation classes, and we can give them some certification. And back to the teachers, they are doing amazing work with what they have.
They have.
They really are.
It's just, I just shake my head and go, wow. This is incredible what they do.
It is incredible, but that doesn't mean they should have to keep doing this.
No.
I mean, because it's just such...
We've evolved everything else but our facilities. Our teaching's evolved, our curriculum's evolved, and what we're offering is evolved, but our facilities are still archaic and pretty dilapidated.
Yeah, and we were talking here about the career academies.
Right.
Well, that's another thing is health sciences is a huge, you're always seeing we need CNAs, we need RNs, we need, and students want to go into that field. And right now there is a CNA course that's offered in Malacca. So 5 students in Princeton have the opportunity to take that course in Malacca, but they have to get themselves there.
Right.
And it has to work out in their schedule, and it's only 5.
Yeah, and way more want to do it.
Way more want to do it.
We have a waiting list that's
Yeah.
like probably 3 times what we can offer to kids right now. And again, another need, and it's a need in our area too.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely it is, yes.
And what I wish people would look at is that these kids are our future.
Right?
Like, we want good leaders and good humans coming out and,
Good workers
running our
Right.
our world.
That's right. Yeah.
Our economy, our everything. And so, look at that. Like, who do I want?
You're investing in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. One of the fastest growing desires for kids to go into programming is culinary arts. They want to get in. They want to get in the restaurant business. They want to be a chef or whatever. And so I always say our facilities now look like the 1960s and 70s home ec rooms.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Old stoves that are probably a lot older than what most people have in their houses right now. And
For sure.
That's what we're training kids to be a chef in. And
Yeah.
that's not the setting they'll have if they go out and become a chef.
That's
So
right.
It's so we have this opportunity to provide our kids with the facilities that they need to move into the next stage of life. And I also look at it kind of, I don't know, sometimes I get hung up on the historical, how did public schools even come about?
Yeah.
And it was the communities that said, we need to build a structure that we can send our kids through to be educated. And the communities all said, yeah, we'll help build that, structure. And so that's always been the way public schools have been built. It's from their community. It's not a state thing for the building structure itself. That's always been the community decides the quality of the building you'll have for your schools.
Right, exactly.
And so it's a little investment to make for a big impact. It's I know nobody likes taxes. Me being a homeowner in Princeton, I don't want my taxes going up.
Exactly.
But to the point of it's $15 a month on an average home with $350,000 or $180 a year. There's a lot of things that we donate to that we want to make an impact in. This is an investment that is going to help for generations, because once you make this remodel is good for another 50 to 60 years.
Right.
So now you've set up your high school into a setting that it can last for a long, long time, and you've helped your kids get to where they're now being educated for the modern world.
That's right. Yeah.
And before we get into like the money part of it, I want to know, what else is this referendum going to address? I know that there's leaky roofs and, the air quality isn't the best. What else is on this besides that CT area?
So we have some infrastructure pieces. Excuse me. One of them is our boiler, which is the original boiler at the high school in
That's incredible.
1964.
Yeah.
It's been welded on too many times to be fixed to try to make it get through another season. So that would be upgraded. And along with that is kind of all the air handling balancing, if you will, because right now some classrooms will be 90 and the other one will be 60.
Yes.
So it's like now you can balance that because you have a real modernized boiler and air handling system. So that would be upgraded as part of this bond. The other part would be the middle school roof is now pushing 25 years old plus.
Oh, I can't believe that.
I know.
I feel like it was just built. I'm old.
And then once you start getting a roof that old in Minnesota, it needs to be upgraded and replaced. So that would be replaced. And the thing that I also say is, if you fix up our most desperate areas, which what we're doing with this remodel, is it takes the capital money that we're putting Band-Aids on a lot of things right now. And so now that capital money frees up to take care of some other things, because I know we're getting some aging carpets and some other hair handling issues in the other buildings. So this would free up some of that, because we get some capital money, but not enough to build a whole new structure or do a remodel like this. So we can take some of that capital money and address some of those issues. So I think it just sets our system up to be able to keep moving us along in the right direction.
Exactly.
Keep our facilities in good shape.
So, sorry, Kim.
Well, I was just going to say, might be a good time for a break. And then we could come back and talk more money and structure.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yep.
All right.
High school is about learning who you are and what you enjoy, where your passions lie, how you learn, how you study, who inspires you, and what your hopes and dreams are for the future. And that is why we created the Tiger Career Academies. The Tiger Career Academies at Princeton Public Schools, opening doors to a world full of opportunities. With 6 unique academies, each offering a variety of paths and 72 trimester class slots, students have many opportunities to explore and prepare for their future.
You were going to ask about furniture and...
Yep, I was going to ask about like desks and teacher desks and all that kind of stuff. Is any of that going to be replaced with this referendum?
So Mary, when you have building bonds, normally your building bonds, they do have a budget item to upgrade what's in the classroom for furniture and equipment and so on. So that would be a category that's in there.
Okay.
It's interesting. I've been through this a few times, and every time you go through a building bond that you need to now start, building and do the work, right? You go through a whole process, and the whole process is about first getting the right contractors and the construction management firm and your architects and your financial people that the board approves who all those people will be. Then you start putting your RFP requests for proposals out there for, I need somebody to do the block work, I need somebody to do whatever electrical work and all that. And so, but even before you get to that, you have to have design meetings. And that we involve community, we involve staff, and we say, well, let's design this. If we were to pass, let's design this in a way that we want at Princeton schools. And I've already set up the architects that are looking like that's probably who we will choose with the World Architect, but that's not confirmed yet. But if it is, I've told them, I said, you need to understand, this will be the Princeton design, not the Wold design.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So it will take the input of all the teachers and the staff and the community that say, okay, if you're going to design it like X, Y, Z, and so on. And one of the things, I'm a real practical person. Don't get back to fluff. Don't give me fluff in your design. You know, we don't. We're here to educate kids. We need we use all the square footage we can to educate kids. So let's not put extra things in there that we don't need. So.
And is Von Dirk still with Wold?
He is.
Yeah. And he's a Princeton grad.
Yeah. And he's actually going to be here on Thursday night. At
Oh,
12
great.
So,
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that'll be great. But yeah, so you go through that stage, then you go through, now you start putting it out to which contractors wants to do the work. And when that happens, we will take local people if we can get them that do that work. So I'm really excited about that, because if we can find local people, now again, you're helping your local, you're helping your community,
That's right.
you're helping your economy. I think all those things are pluses. So, and then part of that in that budget item would be, okay, what equipment's needed, what furniture's needed. And now if we have bigger spaces in our CTE program, who is wanting to donate? Can we get those and put those into the facilities?
Now we have. Now we can take them. We can accept it.
That's
Yes.
right, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that, all that kind of plays out to give you the facility that does prepare you now for the next 50 to 60 years, right?
And it's great to involve the community, because they're the ones that are supporting this. They're the ones that are going to be putting, the extra dollars. So be part of it.
That's right.
This is all of us.
Right, that's exactly right.
So,
There's- This is for generations, so we want everybody to be a part of it.
Yeah. So let's get into the money
Yeah.
part.
So my first question would be, we're talking about this building. It's the same as when we graduated. The classrooms are the same.
Identical.
We're gonna,
No changes.
kind of fix up the classrooms and make them larger so they're
Right.
industry standard and things like that. Why not just build a new building?
To my understanding, because just coming into this, I'm learning, right? But to my understanding, the community is like, no, we're not ready to put 100, because it'd be over 150 million,
Yeah.
150 million plus into a brand new. I call it a high school campus, because when you do a new high school, you don't just do the building. Now you need a stadium.
Right.
Now you need practice facilities.
Yes.
And now, and so on. It just adds on. And so I asked we work with ICS construction company, and I asked him, we said, what would a new high school cost that we would need for our size? And he said, it's going to be over 150 million. So we'd be triple the tax.
Exactly. Yep. So you guys are figuring out a way to do, again, you had the community task force to kind of tell you this is what we would be able to handle and what the community would approve.
And I guess I think that's why Princeton kind of matches me. I'm a real practical person.
Yeah.
I don't need fluff. I just wanted to have what's needed to take care of kids.
That's
Yes.
right.
And that's what this is. It's one of those. We'll live with what we have.
Yeah.
But let's make sure what we have meets the standards we need.
Right. So the proposal is a 49.14 million. Sorry, million.
Yes, let's pass a billion
Yeah, we'll take billions. Any donors out there?
for your school.
It's a 49.14 million building bond, and then a $750,000 a year capital project tech levy. So can you explain? We haven't talked about the tech levy.
Yeah, the two things about the tech levy, one is what it does for us, and then two, how it's taxed. The taxation equalizes it out better, so it's less of a tax impact on our residents, so that's why we went with the tech levy.
Okay.
And what it does for us then is it gives us, and it's a 10-year levy, the bond's a 20-year, I always call it like a house payment, where you do a $15 house payment, a month to help out the school.
Yeah.
But the bond's a loan for the construction for 20 years, where the tech levy is a money for your budget. So it goes right into your tech budget, in which our tech budget takes care of all devices for our kids and our staff, takes care of the infrastructure, the Wi-Fi and so on. It takes care of the copy machines. It takes care of if you have software that you're using in the classroom, it takes care of that. So that's all in the technology budget. So this $750,000 a year for 10 years would take care of that budget.
Okay.
Now, I've asked our finance director, Michelle, and she said that right now our tech budget's about $1.2 million. So it doesn't even take care of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it does take care of a lot of it.
Excuse me, keep going.
Yeah, and
No.
the part that's nice about it taking care of the tech budget, if you will, that frees up operating dollars. So now we have our operating dollars that was going to tech can now go to other things. Our teachers and our other employees' wages, we want to stay competitive. So that's our operating expense. If you ever look at a school's operating expense, 85% is always on wages, because we're a service industry that takes care of kids, and we need staff to do that. So by freeing up some of the operating dollars, now we can sustain that a little better. And it's interesting, back to the kind of the taxation on Princeton residents and Princeton School District. When I started looking at it really deep, we're right at kind of the bottom of who has a tax impact on residents in our communities, school districts around us, and even in the state. So we've had a real, I'd say, philosophy. We don't really come to taxpayers unless we actually have to, because people are very conscious about guarding taxpayer money.
Yep.
People ask me since I moved here, Pastor, what's it like in Princeton? And my comment is always, it's salt of the earth people, hardworking. They work really hard for their money, and they only invest wisely. It has to be a wise investment. And I think our boards have done this in the past here, and I think it's been a philosophy in Princeton. We're going to protect your tax dollars the best we can. And that's why we are at the lower end of tax impact for schools in the state and in the region. And that's something I'm kind of proud of. We're making do with the lowest impact we can. And so by getting this tech levy, that will free up some operating expense, so then we can maintain not having to come and ask for money from our local.
Exactly.
Thanks.
And I'm sorry I had to walk away for a second, but did you explain the bond versus the levy and how you, that's a great way to, did you?
Not yet. No,
Okay.
yeah,
and how, because I think that's a great way to think about it, because it can be confusing for voters.
Yeah.
It really gets confusing when you have bonds and levies, because people go, well, you already have money for that. Why aren't you using that? And it's like, well, hold on. Bonds, when you see, I keep it really simple. Bonds are for buildings. So any of your structural expenses.
And that's a loan, right?
And that's like a house loan.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Like you want to get to build a new house, you're bonding for it.
Yep.
And then levies are for learning. So bonds for building, levies for learning. So learning is your operating expenses. It's for your curriculum. It's for your staffing expenses. It's those kind of things that take care of the soft side of the structure, and then the bond is for the hardscape side of the structure.
And people may not understand that it's earmarked. A lot of your money is earmarked specifically. This is the only way you can spend it.
Yeah, you can't cross the accounts.
Yep.
The state says no. That's your capital expense. You can't go over into your operating expense with that. Even if you have a good capital budget, doesn't matter. You can't use it for operating expenses.
Right.
And that's why we get an audit every year, and that's what they look at really close. So.
And you can view those too if you need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, right.
So if you have any questions on that.
Right.
So when people go to the voting booth, it's going to be one question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they'll be approving the 49.14 million building bond includes the tech levy with it.
It's really crazy when you think about it. This is an off year. So this is the only thing on the ballot. You're going to go in there and you'll see just one question, yes or no.
Yeah.
So it's maybe a 15, 20 second event for you to go vote, right?
Yeah.
And we're encouraging everybody to come out and vote, because it's important for the community to say what they want. Do they want our schools to be brought up to industry standard, or keep making do in what we have?
Yep.
And I know you'll get to this question later, but that problem's not going to go away.
That's right.
These classrooms are at a point where we're kind of at the breaking point with our class sizes and so on, that to continue this is not a model that's good for kids or learning. So if it wasn't to pass, it'll come back again. It'll come back again. It'll come back again until we can get the facilities brought up to the standards they need to be at.
Right. And if you continue to put Band-Aids on things, there's going to be a point where it's like, we can't fix it anymore.
No.
We can't. We have to just rebuild.
Well, not only
Brand new.
that, but then construction costs go up.
Yes, exactly.
And we could possibly lose students, because many of the schools, and that's one thing I often think about when my kids are in school and we would visit other schools for sports or whatever, and you'd see these just beautiful facilities. And, I just think, well, our kids deserve this too. Yeah. We deserve to be our kids deserve to be in classrooms where they're not on top of each other, or, be able to, if they want to, they could be CNA certified before leaving high school.
Exactly.
I mean, but, not here. Why? That's not right. We should, our kids deserve it too. Yeah. And it makes me sometimes wonder about how it makes the kids feel when they go to these other schools and see their facilities and things like that, I think we do a really good job here of promoting Tiger Pride, but I sometimes think that can be hard when they see what else is out there.
And I can confirm that with, the schools that we've visited for volleyball. We went up to Rockridge last month, and the building is absolutely beautiful. And, one of the things that really stuck out to me was the amount of windows in the school, because we were walking around and just kind of looking. They even had big windows in their gym. I mean, their gym just felt bigger and brighter, and it was just a really good feeling to be in there, and what having windows could do.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. In my career, I've been doing this for a while, but even when we were all going to school, we remember the windows all got smaller for energy efficient. Right?
Yeah.
And but now the windows are as or not sometimes more energy efficient. And that's why you see a lot of glass in new buildings and new structures, and it is really cool. It's I know I was part of building a new elementary when I first moved to Waconia. We passed the bond to do that, and I'd say probably 80% of the day that none of the lights are on, because the natural lighting is all they need, because there's so many windows. So there's so many advantages to that. So
and the natural lighting is just so good for you.
It is good for you, and I just feel it makes your day better.
Yeah.
And when you go to the primary school here, that's an example. That's one of that is probably our newest school.
Yeah.
And it's just bright when you walk in there, and it's not so much at the high school, especially in the pull sheds or whatever they are for the for the industrial tech. I mean, if that garage door hadn't been open when we were in there, it would have been quite dark. Actually. So it's really
something about natural lighting brings you vitamin D, but it brings you joy.
It does. It really does. It really does.
Some energy.
Yeah.
I want to talk about. So we're talking about. So we keep saying 49.14 million, and then we talked about 150 million for a new. So those numbers, they sound really big to people, and I think that they just look at that like 50 million,
right?
And then to them it feels like, how much am I going to have to give to this? So what is it? Like, break it down a little bit.
So as we all know, construction costs just keeps going up.
Yeah.
Right? So, but when you take a look at the core of where we're looking to remodel, if you will, from the 1966 building, there's a lot of classrooms and hallways and stairways. You pretty much end up taking all that down. And you leave the shell, the outside shell, but the inside shell is pretty much all taken down and reconfigured. And when you reconfigure it, because we're at about 2/3 the size you should be, for every 3 classrooms, you're only going to have 2 classrooms.
Right.
So when you start losing classrooms, we have to have some new spaces. So we have 2, I call them kind of big boxes right now that they have on the conceptual drawing. But in that conceptual drawing, those new boxes will be the classrooms that we lose when we remodel. So that whole remodel and putting the new ductwork up, new electrician, new flooring, all that, that all adds up to costs, right? And then when you go onto the pole barn side, that side is where we have to, pretty much, not pretty much, we will knock down, demolish all that, start with new footings, start with new, flooring, walls, roof, again, air handling systems that can be balanced and they get the right airflow through there and so on. So when you start putting all those pieces together, pretty soon 49 million gets eaten up pretty fast, right?
Very quickly. Very quickly.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about building a new building being 150 million.
Right.
I mean, that's quite.
But the beauty that I see is once we're done, then we have a facility that you can feel, it's going to be brighter, nicer, newer, whatever, but it lasts for generations.
Right.
So it's kind of, I don't know, I hate to see him call it this way, but it's kind of the Princeton way. Let's work with what we have and make that work, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this will be doing. Will it be nice? Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be new. Will it be I always call it a little fancy, if you will. Yeah, I don't think it'll be fancy.
Yeah.
We're not gonna put like another story up and put skylights in and so on. You know, like some do. You know,
Yep.
and you walk into some of these spaces, you go, oh my goodness, look at this Taj Mahal.
Yeah, exactly. There are some that you think that when you walk
They're
in.
better than colleges.
Yeah.
There's been schools,
And that's not going to be us. You know,
Yep.
we're going to be practical. We're going to use every dime the way it is. And for those, and it's funny, I was just at a conference this weekend for superintendents, and I saw a lot of construction management firms and some that I've worked with in the past, and they always give me a hard time because they go, Pat, you're one of the few superintendents that challenges everything.
Good. Keep it simple.
I said, you know what? I fight for the community. I fight for the school district. I fight for the kids. And when you start to put things in there that we don't need for learning, I'm going to say why.
Yeah.
Why are we
Right.
doing that? I don't need to spend money there. I want to put it back in to where the kids learn something.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so I kind of have that reputation.
That's good. That is good.
And learning environment is huge for learning. The environment that these kids
Huge.
are in makes such a difference
Yeah.
to those kids, and it's just different. It's not like it was.
No, it's not. And we're preparing kids differently. You know,
Right.
talk to CNA or the certifications that they can go out and weld for somebody right away, or they, be a carpenter right away, or electrician, or those things. In our era, we learned some of that, but we're never going to be certified to go do something with it. But now these kids, if they're in a newer space, they can see themselves in that environment.
That's right.
And then go, oh, I could do this career. So it's really about helping our kids have a vision and see that their passion could actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when this passes, I'm going to try to be positive about it. I'm wondering if I can get my desk from Dr. Belfiore's room. I remember when South Elementary, when they demolished South Elementary, you could go buy a desk for like $1 or something like that. It was a big garage sale, so it was kind of fun.
I have friends that have like a little man cave at their house, and in that piece is old chairs from the Metrodome.
Right, yeah.
That they sold, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get our garage sale of those
Yeah.
that graduated in 1985.
Yes, exactly. Come and get it, yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of that, if it were to pass, what does the timeline look like?
So what they're telling us is they would have the completion date on the fall of 2028.
Okay.
And just I talked a little bit about how the things work. So the first probably about 6-7 months are really about just getting all your people that's going to do the work, all the design figured out. You have to cost out the design and make sure it all fits the budget, and then you start hiring people. And so that would get us to probably the spring of 2026.
Yeah.
And then you start. Now that's when you start knocking things down and putting foundations. But construction companies that work with school, it's really interesting. I was again talking to quite a few this weekend, and they were like, we know how it works. We only have about a 3 or 4 month window where we can get a lot done, because then you're going to be running classes again.
Right.
And so there's going to be a couple years where we'll have classes going on where we're sectioning off that area of the building and knocking down walls and putting up new spaces. So I've been a part of it. They're really talented in knowing how to do that.
Yeah.
I've already challenged them about making sure we have enough spaces to continuing our learning, so they know that that's part of what needs to happen and why they're phasing in their construction, if they will. So,
Well, that kind of reminds me of, I don't know how many years ago it was now, when the intermediate school was hit by a snowplow.
Oh
ran
my
into the
gosh,
side
yes.
of they could not have school there.
Yeah.
And so the intermediate kids, some of them were at New Life Church, some of them were at the high school.
Oh, no.
And they even did passing time so that the high school kids were not out and about with the elementary kids, but the elementary kids thought it was the best thing ever to be at the high school, but just made it work.
You do. You make it work.
Uh-huh.
Right? And I go back to, like I said, the character of this community is hardworking, salt of the earth. We make it work. We make it happen.
Yeah.
Kind of people. So I don't see it as a challenge. I
Yeah.
see it, and actually, our kids are amazing that way. I'm so impressed how they go through our high school setting right now, and they just make it work.
They do.
right?
That's what they know.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
Yep.
And,
And
yeah.
they'll be, it's kind of like all of us. We say, I think I went to the new high school. So what would that add-on have been? It would have been the it would have been the Tiger Gym was the new add-on, and
Maybe the pack.
nope,
No,
that was
that's
after
me.
me.
As you.
Yeah.
But we moved, so we were in what's now the gym, the Momentum Fitness,
Yeah.
and the.
Oh, you're talking about this old building.
Well, first
Or
of
the-
all, so I was in junior high.
Yeah.
At Crystal Courts, what's
Yeah.
Crystal Courts
Yeah.
now. And we were in junior high, went to 9th grade at the time. And so we moved over to the high school as 10th graders, like it was being done, but then the 9th grade came with us at that time. And so then they moved to the 6th to 8th grade model of middle school.
Yeah.
And then we went over 2 grades, I think it was, went over to the new school together when they were kind of switching out that model.
And the Tiger Gym was new?
I believe it was.
So the gym before that was the media center?
Yes, and that was with Dad.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because I can remember the school store being in like this really dark area of, I don't know, I would have to ask somebody else, but I do remember that about being there. But yeah, so we went over with, another grade, and then, but my point is that people will always say, they'll just always remember that. The kids will say, yeah, I was, the first class to be in the new space, or I was,
right.
So it's kind of exciting too to be a part of it. Yeah, but the pack, no, that was after me.
But it kind of proves the point of how we make do and we make the little additions and, whatever's needed to take care of the next group of kids. if
That's
you will.
right.
And that's where we're at now.
And I feel like, people who live here graduated from Princeton, they can say, I think we can safely say someone did it for you.
Right.
I
Yep.
mean, for many years. So whether you have kids in school or not, someone did it for you when you were there. And our kids deserve this. And and that, like you said, this is our future.
Right.
And this is our workforce. And they need to be, they deserve to be trained up as well as, our neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and when I look at it, and it's been great coming in with fresh eyes or whatever and looking at it, right? And to me, it's not just a school thing here. This is a community thing. This is how we're providing kids to come out in the workforce and help the community, almost right away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody's looking for workers right now.
That's right.
So if we can help provide with industry standard, spaces so they can come right back out and help this community, I think it's just a great thing.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you were at the fire department doing a presentation.
Yeah.
You've been at the chamber. I know my dad mentioned you're going to be at the Legion tomorrow night, I think, or something.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
next
it might
Thursday,
be,
or
yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
How many presentations have you done so far?
I think I'm over 20 now. I think
Wow.
I'm like 20, 22 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's, I've been out and about. And actually, I'll go anywhere.
Yes.
Right? So if you have a group of people, whether it's, a church group, a coffee group, whatever, and that says, I'd like to hear this from the superintendent, I'll go there. I think that's really important that everybody gets a chance to ask their questions and have me have a chance to really see if what they think is true or whatever, and get a chance to talk to the superintendent.
Yeah, that's
so.
like what's true is true, what's facts.
Right.
So I know I keep going back to money, but okay.
Yeah, we
so,
need to talk about that more.
So the
Yes. 50
for the 50 million, the 49.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, it just sounds like a really big number, but people forget that it's divided.
Right.
By our entire school district. So 50 million seems like a lot,
Right.
but how does it affect our average? What is it? Is our average $350,000
That's
home?
right, yep,
Okay,
yep.
so let's take that, and then how is that going to impact them?
So so for a $350,000 home, which is the average home, it's $15 a month. So for the 20-year bond, right? And so to me, that's like we're all contributing to that house payment, if you will.
Right.
You're doing $15 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's $15 a month for answering yes,
Yes. Yep.
and that is not going to change for 20 years.
No, it's
It's
actually
not like it's gonna grow.
No, there's a couple things about that. If we get growth in our community, it actually could go down.
Okay.
Because we don't increase to 49 million. That 49, it's like when you take your house loan, they tell you you're going to pay this much a month. That's what you pay, and that's all. That's where we're at now. The other thing we do, we have really good bonding rates with school systems. So our company we work with for the bonding rate watches it almost every month, if not weekly, and says, "Oh, some new bond rates just came out. We're gonna rebond your loan, if you will, and now instead of $15, it's $14.50, or it's whatever."
goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anything, it will go down. because of growth and because we rebond.
That is good information.
So it is what it is. It's $15 a month for the average. More obviously for bigger homes and less for less valued homes.
And what's interesting about that is where other other maybe city, county, whatever, it's about the value of your home. So when your value of your home goes up, so is your taxes.
Yeah.
We're locked in at $49 million.
Right.
So even if your value of your home goes up,
it's not going to change.
We're still at we're locked in at the 40.
That's a very good point for people to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
You're locked in.
And so many people, I think there's hidden agendas, and all this money is all going to go to administration or to salaries, and
It literally cannot.
But it cannot.
No,
and
no.
it's $15 a month on the average for 20 years.
Right.
It's not going to change.
Yep.
If it changes, it goes down.
Right.
I mean, that is a fact.
Yeah.
And the community task force also, if I remember from your presentation, said that we could handle $17 a month.
Yep.
That's where we feel the cutoff would be for this group or for this area.
Yeah.
And then you guys came in less than that even, and it could go down.
No, it is good because their work for 2 years went and really did a lot of surveying, taking feedback from the community, and they found out that the tolerance would be at $17 a month for average, and we're coming under that. The other thing I'd like to point out is, and it's in the flyer that came home, but if you look on the third page of that, it talks about tax relief opportunities. So there's quite a few in our community that will get tax relief on this, and when that tax relief, it's kind of nice, like even like the egg to school credit.
Yep.
That tax relief is a really big relief on our local farmers. And that relief comes from the state, doesn't come from the local.
Right.
So we get a kickback. We still get paid at the school, but it's not coming from the farmer's end. It's coming from the state. They have that program, which is great. And that goes along with these other ones. You have a homestead credit. I was kind of amazed by these. These are all kind of somewhat newer, but it's if you have earnings in your household that's less than $139,000, you can get a credit back from this taxation.
Okay.
So that you won't have to pay the maximum. You may only have to pay 60% or 40% of it. And that is back to you, which is great. And again, comes from a state program, not it's not local. It doesn't hurt our referendum, but it helps the taxpayer.
Right.
The other ones are, there's a special 1-year refund to those that are given for the property tax increase. If it goes up more than 12% or at least $100 more, then they can get a relief. The senior tax deferral, if you're over 65, you can get relief on your taxes. So all these relief programs doesn't affect our referendum, but it affects your pocketbook.
Right, exactly.
And helps you.
Yeah.
And then for renters, they have a property tax credit too.
So you mentioned for farmers.
Yeah.
That sometimes has been a stickler throughout the years because farmers have all this acreage.
Right.
And, untaxed and, so can you explain how that impacts them?
So it's I don't have the but we do have a video that kind of explains that on our website.
Good.
So I don't have it broke down where I can give you the mathematical because
Right.
it gets really complex. But the good thing is that we know that it's they only assess your 1 acre and your homestead.
Okay.
And then if you have 500 acres, 1,000 acres, then there's a huge discount. And if you go to the tax calculator, it'll show you that. I mean, there's things like where it says it'll cost you 65 cents, a month, or something like that for your property.
Okay.
So, but the additional that would be normally on that property comes to us from the state. So it's really a win-win.
That is.
Yeah, and I grew up on a farm, so when this came through Minnesota, I was so proud to see that because some of the early referendums as an administrator, I'd go out and farmers would say, "This is going to kill me."
Exactly.
Because I have 1,000 acres, and
Right.
you're putting that taxation on all my acreage, and that's not happening anymore. So
Right, that's excellent
That's
because
huge.
that is
And
huge.
it's understandable.
It is,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like not that the farmers don't support the schools, but
Right.
they can only handle so much financially too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that is excellent
No,
to have
yeah.
that information.
no, so that's really a good program.
Yeah. So highly encourage people to go to
Yeah.
the website, look
Right.
at the tax calculator to see how it impacts you.
Yep.
All the information is there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have our are experts in the finance side at the open house.
Okay.
But I know this is coming out later.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. But they're always available. I mean, we
Right.
have people available that answer questions anytime.
Any question you have, I've probably only had about a half a dozen so far that have called or emailed questions, and we were able to answer them. So definitely, if you have questions, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm glad people are calling,
Yeah.
even if it's only a few. It's,
Yeah.
it's good to hear from people and find out what their concerns are, and that you can answer, because don't get your information from the Facebook bulletin board.
Right.
I mean, that's the other thing I want to
Right.
say is that you're out giving a lot of presentations,
Right.
and I want to just say to people, Pat is not out there saying, you got to vote yes for it's purely information.
Yep.
So that you can be an educated voter,
Right.
so you know what you're voting for.
Yeah.
That's all it is. The open houses,
Right.
all the presentations, they're
Right.
information, so you're getting it, straight from the horse's mouth, as they say, rather than Facebook bulletin boards. Yeah.
And if you're a social media person, we actually have social media interns that they learn this craft at the high school, and they have to apply for the position, and they have to learn how to be a social media poster, if you
Yeah.
will, and
Yeah.
do it the right way.
Yep.
And we have 5 students that now are doing that, and they're going to do some "Did you know" campaigns
Okay.
about this, and say, "Did you know this is what happens
Yeah.
in high school?" And maybe some testimonials of this is what my experience is from both students and from staff at the high school. So look for that on their
That'll be great.
Yeah.
social media
Right.
threads too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is
Yeah.
there anything else that you want to touch on that we maybe forgot?
One of the things that I get a question on sometimes is, and I get it, I feel the same way. Taxation is crazy out
Yeah.
there right now. The cities and the counties and the state get to do whatever they want, right? This one here, to me, is 2 things. One, it's a local control thing. Do we want our local community to have the industry standards in our schools or not? It's kind of a local, so we get to control that. This money doesn't go to the state; it goes straight to what's being built in our local community. And then the other thing I'd say is, we don't like taxation, but I had a realtor tell me this once: if you look at this $15 a month, we don't want that. I'd rather not increase my taxes. But if you want your home values to stay strong, you have to have a strong school.
That's right.
Because there's no community out there that has an awful school and high home values.
Right.
When you look at the top 3 things when people come into a community, they look, is the school a great school? And then your home value stays high.
That's
Yes.
right.
And if you let your school deteriorate, your home values are going to deteriorate, but they won't go down by $15 a month.
That's right.
There's going to be thousands of dollars they'll drop
Yeah,
by.
and-
So if you want to maintain your home value, this is a way to do this.
Well, and also I always, cling to great schools make great communities. So for the businesses as well, we want people to want to come here and give them a reason to come here so that they can support our local
Right.
economy, and it just
And our employment workforce. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
they move here. Oh, it's a great school. I could live
Yeah.
there and I could work at X,
Yeah.
Y, Z.
Yeah, and
right?
raise my family here
Right,
because of the
right,
good
yeah.
schools.
and that is the first thing people look at.
Yep, they
It
really
is,
do.
and it's
Yeah.
a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Positive
So
and
it's
negative.
Yeah, it's all connected. So, and again, none of us like to pay taxes, but when it comes to the school, this is an investment that returns in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
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 It's a great way to look at it as an investment,
Yeah.
just like you do your home.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
great. Well, we just really appreciate. We know how
It was
busy you
fun.
are, and so we really appreciate you being here. And I'm sure you'll be on this podcast again.
You will.
No, I love it.
Good.
And I'll say, like I've said to every other kind of presentation, when you see me out and about and you want to come say hi, please do that.
Yeah.
'Cause my wife always says, "Oh my God, here we go again." And she knows I
Can't
love
take
it.
you anywhere.
That's right. But yeah,
Trip
go
to
on,
the
say-
grocery store
yeah.
turns into
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yep.
Hey, Pat, can I talk to you about something? Sure. Come on
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys have to
So-
drive separately everywhere, so she can just head out.
There has been times, right?
Yeah.
I'll go
that's
home
great.
and start dinner.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah,
Leave
right.
some for you in the fridge.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yep. Well, good.
But just love being in the community and love that we moved here, and it's just it's been a great thing for me. And hopefully this is something with the referendum that we can have a project that we can all be proud of in 2028.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you here, and we appreciate you being here this
Yeah.
morning too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
welcome you to our community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks-
Excellent.
Thanks for having me on the podcast, and go Tigers.
Go
Yeah,
Tigers.
go
Yes.
Tigers.
So until next time, this is Kim and Mary signing off. This is Princeton. Stay here, play here.